For 6 years, she said nothing. She cleaned their floors, served their meals, and endured every slap like it meant nothing. But after the final slap, she didn't cry. She didn't run. She just said one sentence, and within 7 days, the entire family lost everything. This is what really happened. After the black maid did something no one ever expected. Asterisk, her name was Amara. For 6 long years, she worked as a maid in the grand mansion of the Grayson family. To outsiders, the Graysons were a perfect family. Wealthy, respectable, and admired. But behind their golden gates, the truth was darker. Amara was quiet. Too quiet. She moved like a shadow, barely noticed, never acknowledged. No one asked about her past. No one cared why her eyes looked tired beyond her years. And no one ever wondered what she might be hiding. The lady of the house, Vivian Grayson, treated her like less than dirt. Orders came like barks. Mistakes were punished not with words, but with slaps. And Amara endured them all. Until that day. The day of the final slap. It was a quiet afternoon. Vivian was in one of her usual moods, cold, cruel, condescending. A teacup was dropped. A sharp sound. Porcelain shattered on marble. Vivian's hand rose before her voice did. The slap echoed across the silent kitchen. The maids nearby lowered their heads and turned away, pretending not to see. As always, but this time, Amara didn't lower her eyes. She didn't flinch. She stood still, quiet, calm, and then she spoke, just one sentence. "You shouldn't have done that," Vivian scoffed. "What did you say?" Amara didn't answer. She slowly removed her apron, folded it, placed it on the counter, and walked out of the room. No one tried to stop her, because no one ever expected her to be the one who held the matches. 1 week earlier, Amara had overheard something she wasn't supposed to. A late-night conversation between Mr. and Mrs. Grayson. Charles's voice was tense. Vivian's voice was cold. "You should have told me she was digging," he hissed. "She's a maid," Vivian snapped. "What can she do?" "She's not just a maid," Charles said. "She's her sister." The silence that followed was heavier than stone. Vivian muttered, "She has no proof." But Charles wasn't sure. Amara had left the hallway before they realized she was listening. The truth had been revealed. Lena, the 16-year-old daughter the Graysons raised, wasn't Vivian's. She was the daughter of Amara's older sister, who had worked in the house years ago, a young maid who had disappeared after giving birth to the child of her employer. Charles. Vivian had forced the real mother out of the house and claimed the child as her own, silencing the scandal with money and threats. Amara, then just a teenager, had spent the next years tracking every movement of the family that destroyed her sister. She studied, she trained, and she waited until she was old enough to apply for the job as a maid, and they didn't even recognize her. She worked quietly, collected evidence, letters, papers, DNA samples. For years, she endured abuse and insults, knowing that one day the house of lies would fall. And now, the time had come. The day after the final slap, it began. Police, lawyers, reporters. A private investigator who had been hired months earlier delivered sealed documents to the authorities. Hidden cameras, hidden files, DNA results. The truth came out like floodwater. Charles Grayson was exposed for fathering a child with a minor. Staff member Vivian Grayson was exposed for forging adoption papers and threatening a teenage mother into silence. Financial fraud and tax evasion surfaced from Charles's accounts, exposed by Amara's silent gathering of documents over the years. And the biggest shock? The will. Vivian had rewritten the family will months ago, cutting Lena out completely. She never intended for her to inherit anything. But now, it didn't matter, because Lena wasn't their legal child anymore. She was Amara's niece, the granddaughter of a poor village woman who died waiting to see her daughter again, and Amara had made sure Lena would finally know the truth. Lena was quiet at first, confused, hurt, angry. She didn't understand, but Amara showed her the letters, the ones her mother had written from the countryside. Letters that were never delivered. She showed her the photo of a young maid holding a newborn baby. She told her the truth. And for the first time, Lena cried, not from pain, but from release. I always felt like I didn't belong, she whispered. Now I know why. Vivian was arrested for perjury and child endangerment. Charles's empire collapsed under fraud investigations. Their mansion, the symbol of their wealth, was sold to cover their legal costs. And Amara? She disappeared. No news stations ever found her. No social media. No photos. No interviews. Just silence. But Lena found her again. 1 year later, living in a small, peaceful town under a different name, running a modest home for girls with no families, just like her sister once had been. They sat together in silence. Finally, Lena asked, "Why didn't you take revenge sooner?" Amara looked at her, eyes calm. Because real revenge doesn't come with fire and fury. It comes with silence and truth. And when it arrives, no one ever expects it. Amara never raised her voice. She never fought back. But when the time